Strong open.
Have you ever been the CEO?
I was for a few months, but Tony Schneider, who's the CEO of Automatic, joined very, very early on.
How were you as a CEO?
It's probably good it was short term, because I didn't know how to pay taxes or bills.
Yeah, probably good. Probably good. So you mentioned...
I still don't.
Yeah, I assume you have people do that for you. Yeah. Otherwise, it's bad that you're saying this on stage. This is live
Hello,
streamed.
Internet.
The IRS. So you mentioned Tony is CEO of Automatic. I mean, let's first and foremost talk about your bizarre company structure.
Yes.
I mean, so you
Byzantine, I prefer.
Yes, so you have WordPress.com, WordPress.org. Some stuff is free, some stuff is not free. Mm-hmm. It's automatic. It's automatic. Do we need a whiteboard to go through this? Explain to us how this all works.
Sure.
And why on earth you set it up this way. I'm a customer. I've used WordPress for years professionally, and I still don't understand it.
Well, here's how I'll break it down. So there's WordPress, which is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to publish on the web. It comes in two flavors. .com, which is completely hassle-free. You can start using it in a minute and have a beautiful blog. And .org, which is like if you're a coder, if you like customizing things, if you want complete control, you can do whatever you like with it. And after I started WordPress, a few years later, I started Automatic to do the commercial things, sort of take advantage of the commercial opportunities around WordPress.
Why not do that all as one entity?
So, historical quirk. So WordPress started before any of this. So WordPress, the open source project, the thing you can modify and change however you like, started, I guess, in 2003. Mm-hmm. And there was no money or investors. I was in Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm. And you were like 19?
I was 19 at the time. And it was really just a project for passion, like many open source projects start.
What was it you were passionate about? Because are you a writer?
Yeah. Well, not like you're a writer, but...
Well, I probably, I'm not even going to go there. I'm trying to say something self-deprecating, and then I thought, well, people are here because they read the blog. That probably isn't good. So we'll just move right by that. But so were you as a writer looking for an easier way to publish? Did it come more from the code aspect? Was it the community aspect? What was it about blogging you're so passionate about?
It was kind of strange. So I came into it on the side. First, I was building websites for musicians in Houston. Mm-hmm. Because I was really into jazz, and I went to a special high school for arts and everything. And in exchange for lessons, I built computers or websites. Both of them were just as ugly. Then I got a digital camera, a little Sony digital camera, with my $200 in profit from a year of work, and started taking tons of photos. Like the idea that you could take unlimited photos and it wouldn't cost anything really blew my mind. And I uploaded the photos. I went to DC, won an economics competition.
How do you win an economics competition?
We don't need to go.
Was it like an essay on economics?
It was pretty intense.
Is it like The Apprentice?
There was like an arena, and it was actually something called... There was an arena at the end, yeah. It's called the Federal Reserve Challenge, or Fed Challenge for short. Has anyone heard of this before?
Oh, one person. No, two. Wow, two nerds in the audience.
Yes, two future leaders of society in the audience.
The Fed Challenge.
And basically, you would do a mock
like
FOMC meeting. The FOMC is the Federal Open Market Committee, which determines the interest rates. And you're already glazing over. I should stop there.
I'm loving it.
So you do a mock FOMC meeting, and there was a Houston competition, a Texas competition, then we went all the way to nationals. And met Alan Greenspan. Ben Bernanke was actually one of the judges.
Wow. Did they like your work? Cool. They liked the way you ran the FOMC meeting?
Well, you actually act. So you're different characters in the FOMC meeting.
What were you?
How did we get into this? Oh, my goodness, Sarah. This is going deep.
What were you?
I was not Alan Greenspan. Who was I? I think I was not Bob McTeer. He was the cool one. So
really?
Yeah. Bob McTeer was the Texas region federal bank president, and he would write sort of cowboy poetry about interest rates and stuff. It was kind of amazing.
That does sound cool.
I think I might have been the president from Boston.
I see. Let's get back to WordPress.
Obviously, that was not the thing.
So you went to DC.
That I stuck to.
You decided not to stick with the Fed.
I took a ton of pictures, and the captions on the pictures got longer and longer. And eventually I thought, well, I should start a blog. And I sort of looked around at all the blogs I was reading, because I was really into blogs at the time, like Neil Dash, Kottke, this guy called Camworld, Dave Weiner, and most of them use movable type. So I started using this Perl thing called movable type. It really frustrated me because it was difficult to set up, so I switched to this other software called B2. And B2 was a great experience because it was PHP and MySQL, so it was really easy to use and set up for the time. And then 2, it was the first open source project that I got involved in. Because I didn't really know what I was doing, so I got stuck, and I went on the forums. And I said, hey, I'm stuck, and someone helped me. And then I came back the next day, and I'm like, I broke it, and then someone helped me. And then the third day, I went back, and I was like, oh, someone else has broken, I know how to fix it because I had the same problem, and I got involved with forums, just as a volunteer.
And then you decided to make your own version?
Well, the first thing was actually also kind of wonky. It was around typography. So I guess you've always written in the digital age, but at the time to get an apostrophe.
Yeah. No, I was at Business Week.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, there's prime, which is a straight up and down, and then there's apostrophe, which is curly, right? So to do the apostrophe in HTML, you have to write ampersand, hash, 8217, semicolon, and then your final letter of the contraction, which is kind of a buzzkill when you're writing. So I wrote I wrote this set of regular expressions in software essentially to do that automatically. It was called Texturize. The tagline was, so good it'll make your quotes curl.
That's amazing. Do you still have T-shirts that say that? Because I'm going to make you some if not.
That would be good. So I wrote this, and the guy who led the B2 project saw it, and was like, he was into typography as well, and photography, and he said, this is awesome. I would like to incorporate this code. And so he put the code in the main release, which I had no idea how to do, so it all went in there. And then the next version had this code, and I just had this total, utter high, knowing that literally dozens of websites around the world were running code I had written.
And then you were hooked.
I was hooked. I've been doing open source ever since.
So open source is interesting. I was at Business Week covering software when Linux finally became a really big business, and there was the whole wave of companies trying to basically replicate the whole software stack with open source. And a lot of them didn't turn into big businesses. And I guess the question I always had with open source, it's obviously very consumer friendly. It's there's this passion around it, which is great. I mean there are reasons that it's this huge movement that has displaced a lot of the traditional software. But does open source simply kind of Robin Hood the old revenues that you had from companies like IBM and Oracle, or can you actually build $1 billion open source company? I mean, MySQL sold for that, but a lot of people thought that it wasn't necessarily worth it.
And Red Hat just reached that valuation or that revenue, I think. They're the first $1 billion revenue company.
Right.
But traditionally, you said it's consumer friendly, and that's not how I would actually characterize open source. Typically, open source has been good at like server behind the scenes stuff, under the hood.
Well, I guess I just mean because I think of it as paired with the software as a service revolution. And it was that thing of I guess by consumer I mean the business is running it. Because anything other than on-premise software, which doesn't work, you have to pay consultants millions of dollars and you never rip out because it's so painful. I mean, I think in that world it was consumer friendly.
Yeah, and it really started from the operating system up. It started a little mini revolution. And really WordPress existing was predicated on MySQL, PHP, Apache, this entire stack, the LAMP stack, if you will, being really easy. And so that's why I never even thought about WordPress not being open source, because we were built on the shoulders of giants. It seemed just right to sort of pay it forward to whoever might come next.
I think because you have such a commitment to open source, a lot of people don't think of WordPress really as a business. They think of it the same way we think of Craigslist, the same way we think of Mozilla. There's a handful of these companies in Silicon Valley that power huge amounts of things, but really aren't explicitly for-profit companies, or they're part of something, or they intentionally, in the case of Craigslist, don't maximize revenues the way they could. Do you think it's fair to put you guys in that camp?
I think that any time there's a new business or something that seems awesome, but you don't know how it works behind the scenes, people wonder how it makes money. So in John Battelle's book on Google, apparently the Google guys, for years going around with people like, how do you do this? How do you provide such a great product what are you doing? Even when they started doing the ads, because people didn't really think of the ads as something that would make money. And we're very much the same way. So I guess more Google than Craigslist, hopefully. But I think you can build a huge business on open source, because really all open source is a bill of rights. It says, here are certain freedoms and rights you have with regards to the software. I can't, even though you run WordPress, I can't take it away from you. I can't control how you use it. I can't control what you say. You have complete freedom with regards to how you use the software. And I think as more and more of our lives start to go through that software, those freedoms become even more important.
Recently, you were quoted as saying, someone asked about the death of blogging, which is probably a question that you get a lot. I think I get it a lot. And you said that, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but to say blogging is dead is to say creativity and self-expression are dead. Why? Blogging is a medium. It's not the thing. I mean, what makes blogging different than any other medium for creativity and self-expression that's come before? Is it something fundamentally more special?
I think the beautiful thing about blogs is that they're the engine of the independent web, right? When you think of, in a lot of ways, WordPress and blogs are kind of like the dark matter of the web. There's hundreds of millions of domains out there. What are they running? Facebook is one domain. Google is one domain. Twitter is one domain. The rest of the web is a beautiful place. It's independent. You have complete freedom. You can do whatever you like. You have, if you're running open source software, the rights I talked about earlier. And I think blogs have always been beautiful because they've been personal. They afford a lot of flexibility, and they're often on people's own domains, so they can do whatever they like with them. So that's why you see the cool stuff always happen on blogs first. The new formats sort of pioneered and everything like that.
But are blogs, and I say this as someone who started a blog, but
Recently.
There is a level at which the early idea of everyone will have a blog seems to be a little anachronistic now. I mean, a lot of those people who, set up blogs on day one, they were like, everyone's going to read my thoughts. They went on and they realized writing every day is a big grind. And if you don't write every day, you don't have much of an audience. And just getting out there and being able to publish didn't necessarily mean you had a big audience. So a lot of the people who were those early bloggers, now just tweet. I mean, even someone like Robert Scoble, who made his name blogging and was a great blogger, really just got more into social media. And if that's Robert Scoble, I think a lot of other people are that way too. And meanwhile, the blogs like me are really in TechCrunch and All Things D have really turned more into big media companies.
Micro publishers, if you will.
So you have micro blogs and you have micro publishers. So who's a blog anymore? Who's blogging?
I think actually Scoble's a great example to make the opposite point, where we all know he's on every single thing that starts.
He's probably here. I feel like if you say his name 3 times, he appears. So let's call him Mr. S from now on.
Mr. S. But his blog has been the one constant. Over the past, he's probably been doing a decade now. His blog is the thing that he's always kept. It's been his digital home, his place on the web. And I think that it's true. I don't think everyone will be a blogger.
Did you think so in the early days?
No, I never thought so. Because not everyone has a passion to share something. Not everyone enjoys writing or photography or whatever, or video, whatever it is that they're sharing. Not everyone's a creator. But I do think that more people are becoming creators and writers and photographers and videographers every single day. The technology to afford that, just like I got giddy from that first digital camera, has gone 100-fold from then. And things like Twitter, Facebook, I think are whetting people's appetites for something more.
So you think that Twitter doesn't cannibalize blogs? It makes more people into bloggers?
Every single blogging system has been growing or accelerating since Twitter started. So, the pie is also enlarging. And the other thing we see is that social networks provide great distribution for blogs. So even like a Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, any of those, you put your blog post, you syndicate it out there, and now there's an audience, which is nice. That's what bloggers, not everyone wants an audience, but it's nice to know that someone's reading your stuff.
But who writes something on a blog and doesn't want an audience?
Lots of personal bloggers. Lots of anonymous blogs.
But why would you publish it on the web?
Well, there's an audience and there's an audience, right? You want an audience.
I hope I get an audience, or my investors are not going to be happy.
But a lot of people, it's just a way to share. It's an easy way to have a home on the web, or something they can link to in their Twitter profile, or something they can show That just is their thoughts. And doesn't have any grand ambitions. It's about their life. It's what they, my Matt.WordPress blog is like literally everything I eat.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually more people who follow that than I would think. But, but really, that's like for my mom, my friends, my trainer, to see how fat I'm going to be when I come back.
I don't think you're very fat at all. Starting a company and having a baby. I've got you beat.
I gained 30 pounds in starting Automatic.
Did you? That makes me feel better.
Well,
I simply just didn't lose it from the baby.
I got really homesick when I moved to San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
And early colleague of mine, Bray Abrahamson, we were both from Texas. And so we just started going to this place in San Francisco called Memphis Minis. If you guys ever want to barbecue.
I hate Memphis Minis.
Whoa!
Because I'm from Memphis, and there's nothing Memphis-y about Memphis Minis. They're just co-opting our name, and they're not even making our style of barbecue. This is a major hot button for me. So I went in there once, and I said, and they had different sauces on the table, and they had the Kansas City sauce, and they had the, Tom and Joe was looking at me like, oh, good God, she's talking about Memphis barbecue again. This is going to go on all day. So I'll make it quick. So there's Kansas City, there was Texas style, and Carolina style. And I said, where's your Memphis sauce? And they said, well, we don't have any. I was like, your name is Memphis Minis. You don't have any Memphis style sauce. And they said, no, because our pork is Memphis style. It's chopped and heavy on cinnamon. That is in no way Memphis style pork. It is all pulled pork. And there's not a stick of cinnamon to be found.
I actually just got back from the World Championship of Barbecue.
Did you? Are you a barbecuer as well?
So I believe...
You're the man of a million hobbies. You're a jazz player. You're a photographer. In your spare time, you reenact Alan Greenspan meetings. So do you barbecue as well?
So I think
we could have a barbecue off.
WordPress might be the only technology company that sponsors a team at the World Championship of Barbecue. I've walked around the whole thing. There's 500 teams, so there might be another one. But it's where it's like AutoZone, Hooters, WordPress.
Maybe Pando Daily will if we ever make money.
We could join up.
Let's do it.
Because it is a really good time. I guess you grew up in Memphis in May.
Yeah.
You went to the barbecue festival a lot of times?
A lot.
Nice. It's kind of awesome. You sit on the Mississippi, drink beers, and eat meat. It's kind of, and people build these structures. Our booth was actually really awesome this year.
It's outrageous.
2 stories. I tell people it's like a Burning Man for meat.
That's a great way to put it. And it's Memphis, so it's like very hot and sweaty, and you're near this like gross river, and it's like everyone. I mean, Memphis.
Oh,
is
you're not selling
right.
it.
No. I love the grit of Memphis. Like this, I'm a huge pro Memphis person, but it's like Memphis is right in the tri-state area of Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. So just everything everyone from the rural Delta piles in to eat their weight in barbecue once a year.
I totally forgot you're from there. We'll get you there next year.
Yeah, let's totally do it. That would be great. Everyone will be like, what is Pando Daily? And I'll be like, just eat this barbecue and shut up. Go read it.
We got a lot of people come up, actually.
Really?
It was kind of neat. We always stocked the booth with like a bunch of pins and stickers and everything, and they're cleared out at the end of every festival.
So you're saying people took free stuff. That is shocking. Drunk rednecks took
Oh, W,
pins.
yeah.
I'm sure it's because they're all bloggers. I'm sure it's because they're all bloggers. So now I'm all excited thinking about barbecue.
By the way, I have a very small stash of like special edition WordPress stickers and tattoos if anyone wants them afterwards.
I have a surprise as well for people afterwards. I was going to save this, but now you're making me look bad. And where did you put this? We had, for you brave souls who braved the rain and came to our first event, we had special Pando Monthly New York t-shirts printed up for you. Cool.
Very handsome.
Our WordPress developer actually designed them.
Nice. Sarah Cannon?
Sarah Cannon.
Nice.
Yes, she'll be very excited you name dropped her. She loves you.
Boom.
Let's
Hi,
talk
Sarah.
about this cult that you have.
What'd you call it? Wavy head deity?
Wavy-haired deity. I heard a funnier description of you. We were at Tony Conrad's surprise birthday party, and your hair was like extra. I don't know if you use hot rollers, but it was extra voluminous that day. And you're wearing a sweatshirt with elbow patches. And Dick Costello said, "When did Matt Mullenweg start teaching poetry at Brown?" So wavy hair deity is my version. But I mean, let's talk about this cult, because Owen told me that the two of you went to India and people were like throwing underwear at you on stage.
I think they were throwing underwear at Ohm. It might have missed him and hit me, but
He ducked.
He ducked. No.
When did that start?
When did that start?
The underwear.
Really in the jazz days. No. That was probably a word camp. So there's this cool thing. WordCamp started about 5 years ago. I was actually sort of around at the founding of bar camps with Tech and Chris Messina and all those guys. And it was later that year I thought, well, we could do this, replicate this model for WordPress. So originally we called it WordCamp. With about 2 or 3 weeks' notice, put together a conference in San Francisco that I think 500 or 600 people registered for. And we had some Minis barbecue.
Bullshit minis barbecue, that's what I call it.
And it ended up being a really great event. And so I thought, well, what if we can open source the events as well? And a good example might be how TEDx does it these days. And just sort of, they started to replicate all over the world. Now there's actually more than one a week. And they're just community-run, community-led events, typically $20. And you get a T-shirt. It's a great deal, actually, like this. You get a T-shirt, beer, food, open bar, and a day of cool WordPress information. And they're very community-oriented events.
But what do you think inspires the passion around these events?
I think that creative people love creating. I mean, at the end of the day. And I always love going to them. I mean, for a while, I think it was 2010, I went to like 30 of them, like a ridiculous amount. And I loved it because, well, A, you get to be a rock star for a day or two, which is kind of fun. But B, you meet the most eclectic set of people. I mean, all age ranges, all passions. You meet people who like quilt Elvis blankets, and you meet people who do tech blogs. And you don't know who's weirder.
I also quilt Elvis blankets. Again, the Memphis.
Nice. But it's a lot of fun. And I'm a big believer in that if you think someone's boring, it's actually you. Because everyone has something interesting about them, something beautiful about them, and you have to figure out what that is, that thing that they're really, really, really passionate about.
Was there a moment early on when you were traveling, when you were doing these, where you kind of were blown away? Was there someone you met, a story you heard, something where you thought, shit, like I've kind of built something amazing here?
Probably the first tipping point was internationalization. So someone translated WordPress into Japanese. But at the time, we had no translation framework, which means they opened up and went through line by line, tens of thousands of lines of code, and changed it to Japanese. And this just blew me away. And it was one of the most beautiful things I'd seen, because Japanese is such a beautiful script, and it was almost like a bizarro world version of WordPress. It was like the framework, the buttons I had made and we'd built together, Japanese in the middle of it. That was pretty cool. So that blew me. That's when I started thinking of WordPress could possibly be bigger than just blogging software for my site. The first international WordCamp was in Argentina. And that was very exciting. I got
Argentina?
Texas Spanish, so I can speak, like in Argentina they speak slower, so I was able to understand it. Why Argentina? I have no idea. South America actually embraces open source to the degree that the US is still catching up to.
Tell me more about that.
Brazil, amazing, amazing. I went to a Linux conference there that had like 6,000 people at it, and my session had like 20 people, and then there was like a Linux kernel hacker who like filled like 4 auditoriums. Like, it was crazy. Like, people were really into Linux and open source there.
Do you have any cultural explanation of why?
I think there was lack of legacy proprietary businesses, not really paying attention to them. Governments and also there's the cost issue as well. Like, a lot of the businesses there make a lot less money and they're sort of growing. But B, I think it's just that, the history of computing was very, Bill Gates wrote the famous letter, "Don't pirate my software," was very much driven in a proprietary way. And open source didn't really start breaking out until the 90s. And that's around the same time that technology started hitting Brazil and Argentina and Indonesia and some of these places that just seem to embrace it to a degree which I hope we catch up to at least.
I want to talk a little bit about how much you travel. I mean, you tend to have a much healthier work-life balance than most entrepreneurs, certainly than I do. In addition to all of your...
Glad I give that appearance.
Well, but you travel a lot, right?
I was on the road 245 days last year.
245 days. All for work?
Mostly for work, yeah.
And so what does that mean? What are you doing when you go to places?
So here's another way that we're weird. Automatic is totally distributed. We're about to pass 120 people. I want to say we're across 90 cities. So literally, work for me is seeing people all over the world. Like, you need to go where the people are if you're going to lead a company. And And the teams get together and do meetups, different places. I've been to meetups in Athens, in Seaside, Florida, Sayulita, Mexico, Hawaii.
I love Sayulita.
Sayulita is amazing, right?
It's one of my favorite places.
That was my team's meetup, was in Sayulita. And so the teams work distributed, which is, I think, easy to do. But you miss something when you're distributed, and that's that sort of intense brainstorming, and also the rapport. Like how is their sense of humor? How do they laugh? When you read what they write, can you hear their tone of voice so you don't take it in the wrong way? And for that, the meetups have been amazing. So that's a lot of it. That and work camps.
So why build a company that way?
Why not build a company that way?
Because you just said you lose all these things by being a distributed team. You have to physically go places, which most people would say is a productivity loss.
Oh man, I would say going into the office every day is a productivity loss. Most offices are fairly soul-crushing environments. And I think part of the reason is that this goes back to political science. Like, you have a finite amount of space, and you have just sort of all the things that happen when human beings are in the same space. So, and in the Valley in particular, there's this weird sort of martyr complex where people want to get up, stay up all night, drink, sleep under the desk. It's programmer thing, we know there's research that says your brain is worse on no sleep, reaction time-wise than it is when you're drunk. Like, we know that, you don't perform well. You're not creative in these situations. But there's still that pressure. If someone's staying later, you notice, and you want to stay later. Or even just the fact that how someone is dressed, or how they look, or how they talk, what kind of accent they have. As human beings, we're hardwired to take all these things in and make judgments on them, because that's how we survive. That's how we grew as social animals. But they actually have very little to do with being effective in an organization, which is smart and get stuff done, to paraphrase Joel Spolsky.
Interesting.
So when you abstract that all out and everyone can work from their own castle, they can wear pants or not, they can do whatever they like.
I don't wear pants.
It's just all about the output. It's just all about the results. You don't care about input. And input is great. If we were hiring for a sales job, I'd want someone who could have a beer and comb their hair and talk. But for any other role...
I love the high bar that you have for a sales guy. Comb hair, talk, drink beer. I think Pando goes sideways, really. This is a weirdly tiny beer, but I think it's still...
Yeah, can I get one of those, by the way?
Yeah. Can someone get Matt a beer?
Because you said no one's ever had a beer before.
Yeah, no
of the guests.
No guest has ever had a beer
I'd
before.
like to break some new ground.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a new New York tradition.
But it's all about the results. It's all about what people do. And I think that's a way healthier way. And then the advantage, why build a company this way? And I'm almost hesitant to say it because there's a huge geographic arbitrage that we have right now. Companies like Facebook, Twitter, Google, they're hiring people within a few cities in the world. And they're cutting out 99% of the eligible people in the world. And so just by selection bias, just like they say, Bill Joy's thing, there's more smart people outside of your company than inside of your company. There are more smart people outside of New York, San Francisco, Austin, than there are inside of them. And if you're only going to hire people who are in those places, or going to go to those places, yes, there's a huge concentration of talent. But there's also, there's an over-demand of talent as well. So like our creative director, who's designed things that over 500 million people see every single month, lives in a town of 2,000 in Alabama. Like a king. Like a boss. And that's beautiful.
Do you still pay people Valley salaries? Do you do this to cut down on costs at all?
I don't think there's really a cost saving, because once you fly everyone around the world a few times a year, put them up in Sayulita for a week, do that sort of thing.
I increasingly want to be your salesman.
I think the cost comes out about the same as if you had an office or had everyone in an office, but I think the flexibility afforded is huge. The type of people you get is a caliber as good or better than anyone I've met in these typical Valley companies. And it also affords people incredible opportunities. We had a fellow who joined, and about a month or two into working, he decided to, on I think 2 days' notice, go on a Southeast Asia trip. And he ended up going through Vietnam and Thailand and all these places. I want to say for like a month or two. I didn't really care or notice. All that mattered was he had Wi-Fi occasionally. And he was able to do everything that he said he was going to do and contribute to Automatic as a whole. And that's me as well. So people think because I travel all the time, I don't work. The curse is not that you can work from anywhere, it's that you work from everywhere. So every airport, sometimes in Ubers, any place I am, doing something.
Do you prefer when you travel to go to like very dodgy places and really rough it? And I mean, I always have a saying, like, if I'm not in some level of pain, I'm not really in an emerging market. Like, that's what I love. I mean, I live in the Mission in San Francisco. I grew up in Memphis. I like edgy, gritty places. Do you like that, or do you like the 5-star resort pampering?
Typically what we do for Automatic is we find, sometimes we'll do resorts, but like in the off season. So we actually got a great deal 2 years ago. Once a year we bring the whole company together. Usually it's teams of sort of 5 to 7 people that get together, but once a year we bring the whole company together. Last year we did it in Budapest, which is really cool, but the year before that we did it in Seaside, Florida, which is cool. It's where they filmed Truman Show. It's an actual town that looks
Paul
just
Carr's
like
gonna
Truman
love
Show.
this. He makes more Truman Show references than Jim Carrey.
Oh, cool. So we were there, and we went there in like November or something, like kind of a weird empty time for it. So we got this great deal. We rented like 8 or 9 houses. Everyone had these beautiful seaside, and then that oil spill happened in the Texas Gulf. Tragic event, but we ended up getting like a 30% discount because everyone was like, can't go to Florida, we're gonna all die of toxic stuff. And it ended up, like, it's actually quite economical. You can go to some of these places.
I'm glad the oil spill worked for you.
BP.
So
I'm from Houston, so.
Right, you're a fan of oil.
Use more gas.
You have a place in New York now.
I do.
Why are you splitting your time? How does that work?
Yeah, I've actually been using New York as a home base for as much as that means I'm here. But I've been doing like laundry here, and it's been pretty cool.
When did you make that move, and why did you decide to?
You guys know it's one of the greatest cities on earth. I mean,
That's just playing to the crowd.
I love it here. Like, I really, really do. And I love San Francisco. I love Houston. I mean, these are sort of my 3 loves. I live sort of a tri-coastal life. But New York, for me, there's an energy, a buzz, and also, candidly, like the jazz and the music and the art here. It's just at a whole other level, particularly jazz. It's kind of what San Francisco, the Valley is to tech. Like, you get the highest caliber people in the world. You can walk in, like, any random restaurant here, and just in the corner, there could be some of the most amazing musicians you've heard in your life. And I love that. And a lot of the weird high school I went to, a lot of the guys who went there who didn't, fall into a bad technology crowd like I did, who made it in music, are now in New York. So it's folks like, well, actually Beyonce went to my high school.
Really?
But,
did you guys date?
But that wasn't a no. I would love to date Beyonce. But no, I think we were different years. She was there a little before me. But there was this guy, Robert Glasper, who's a pianist, and he's now Blue Note recording artist, amazing musician, just did a CD called Black Radio with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. Like, he's killing it. And I can hang out with him when I'm in New York, and I can see his shows, and like, that's so energizing. I've always found the most inspiration. Like, whenever I'm stuck on a hard problem for WordPress or there's something we can't figure out, I find a thing that takes my mind off it the most is just going to a live performance. Jazz is probably the worst because I get really into it, but like opera, I take a notebook every time. Like, I will come out with like 5 pages
bored.
of ideas. No, I don't. It's not that I'm bored. I love it, but I just sort of get into like a weird state of enjoying the music, but also being kind of half asleep. And so, like, when you do that free association, like when you're first waking up in the morning or you're about to fall asleep. And so I come home to like this my handwriting is normally legible, but it's particularly legible, when it's dark at the opera and I'm trying to write without anyone noticing. But really great stuff.
That's interesting. So the thing I think is really fascinating about this.
Interesting.
I think it genuinely is. I'm sorry. I was
Where do you get
thinking,
your best ideas? Like, where do you get your creative inspiration?
I think this is so cliche, but the shower.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you guys get great ideas in the shower? I mean, it's like, that's to me, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a similar kind of thing, but
It's space. It's all about space. You're doing something and you're thinking, but you're not thinking. And the
Yeah.
problem is that my phone's been buzzing. I guess you guys are tweeting me at Photomat.
hashtag Panda Monthly.
I'm about to pass 40,000. I need some more followers.
Oh.
If you could, awesome. Thank you. Hey, cheers. To
Cheers.
Memphis.
Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
We're like giants.
We constantly have this device in our, like, does your phone ever buzz and you don't look at it for whatever reason and, like, you get a little awkward, like, a little twitchy? Mm-hmm. I see people looking at their phones
Do we
right
need
now.
to take it away from you?
No. I can
Fuck the
control it mostly.
temptation.
But constantly distracting us. Our minds are constantly occupied. And I've been really preoccupied and fascinated with this idea of, is Silicon Valley destroying the world? Well, is what we do actually like morally destitute? Because we create these things that are incredibly engaging. And yes, they connect people. And yes, they democratize publishing. And yes, they do some amazing things. But they also distract us constantly. And we got the notifications. WordPress is about to launch some notifications. Like, it's dropping today or tomorrow. And I've been having like this moral dilemma about it. It's such a good feature. Like, you moderate your comments from it. It's like really slick. But at the same time, like, we're now going to be pinging people when they should be having a conversation with a loved one, or they should be thinking about something. And that's why showers and the opera and everything work, because they force you to have a little bit of space. And space is where all that special things, all that special thoughts, free associations, real ideas, the things that you could spend the rest of your life doing are going to come from. They're not going to come when you're in that loop, going Gmail, Facebook, tech meme, Twitter, just going between. You can do that all day.
So what I think is so fascinating about what you're describing about New York in particular, and wanting distraction, essentially, this is what Mayor Bloomberg argues makes New York such a great tech town, is that you have a world-class opera, you have symphony, you have the arts, you have great museums, and people want to live in the city and they want to be well-rounded people. And so he's argued that like all of these great amenities of the city are really what bring more tech talent here. Now, I know a ton of people in Silicon Valley who've said that's absolutely ridiculous. And I've heard over and over again people say, particularly younger guys starting companies, I've more than one time heard they've moved from LA or New York because there's no women in Silicon Valley. And so they don't get distracted and they can totally focus on work. So there seem to be like two really different sides to this argument.
Wow.
I know, he's like, yeah, no women.
Is that why there's no startups in New York?
So, I mean, it's interesting that you're sort of, I think of you as a Silicon Valley person, but you're much more of that New York mindset.
Oh, San Francisco person. Let's get it straight.
So you're a snob.
There's a huge difference.
Tell us what the difference.
Between Silicon Valley and San Francisco, you know it. I would say Silicon Valley has some beautiful centers of innovation, but you visit them and they're kind of like strip malls and like their campuses. I mean, there's a few beautiful, like Stanford's beautiful. But mostly it's kind of culturally a desert in many ways. San Francisco has a lot of the great things about New York. I was actually thinking about this, and because some entrepreneurs were asking me, they were like, we're starting a company, we can live any place in the world, we've drank your Kool-Aid, what should we do? And I think actually for founders, being in one of the tech hubs is important, because the connections, the funding, the meeting people, all of that is really important. For the rest of the company, it's not.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of the company, where should you be? Like if they ask, and I went through like the list of all the U.S. cities, and I think it's either New Orleans or Portland, with New Orleans probably being a better bet. I mean, New York has all these amazing things. It's also freaking expensive.
Yes, it is.
It's tough to live here, and especially if you're bootstrapping. You don't need to be spending a couple of grand a month on rent that could be going towards another developer or designer or AdWords or anything else in the world. But New Orleans is wide open. Like, you get some of the great art things of New York, including some of the great jazz, and I'm biased towards jazz. But
Let's pick that up.
but it's a small city, and post-Katrina, it's like totally coming back, and it's nice. They have beignets as well.
Beignets are delicious, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
And what about Portland? San Francisco snobs call Portland the poor man's San Francisco, literally.
It's the place young people go to retire. No, I love Portland.
So, So when you were 19, you're in Houston, you've started this thing, you had no idea at the time was going to become what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you move to San Francisco, and what pulled you out there?
So it's kind of interesting. I went out to San Francisco. I had a life quest at the time to be #1 on Google for the word Matt. And I said if I ever accomplished this, I would I'd go out on top. Like I would shut down everything, like Jordan.
George
you know?
Costanza.
Costanza.
Bye, everyone.
And so when that happened, I took down my website and I took a screenshot of the thing. I made business cards that just said, go to Google, type in Matt, press I'm feeling lucky. And I went to San Francisco to visit my friend Tantek. He was just leaving Microsoft at the time, and I believe going to Technorati, early blog company, if any of those old school people here.
I forgot about Technorati.
And it was kind of a weird trip. Like, I didn't cross the Golden Gate. I still haven't ridden a cable car. Like, I didn't visit Alcatraz. But I went to Google, Yahoo, CNET. I visited, like, all the tech companies I did. And I just fell in love because I felt like I'd found my tribe. Mm-hmm. In Houston, I was, like, part of the meetups. I was part of the Palm users group, Linux users group, wireless users group, like all the 50 people in Houston who were really into this stuff. We all had like the same meetings we'd all go to. And that was cool. But in San Francisco was a whole city. And you step off the plane, there's free air conditioning. It's Wi-Fi everywhere. It was like literally felt like paradise. So I caught the bug. I went back to Houston with every intention of returning to school. But I started getting calls from some of these companies I had visited. And the most interesting was actually CNET. Mm-hmm. Because as a media company versus a technology company like a Google or Yahoo, they were technology companies at the time. Mm-hmm. They had no interest in the intellectual property rights to WordPress or open source things I did. Mm-hmm. So they actually gave me a fantastic deal where they would pay me to move out, mm-hmm. a salary that would be like what I would hope to make once I graduated, and allowed me to carve out, I think 20% of my time and retain all the IP to anything I did that was open source. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, done. And so I dropped out.
And yet CNET was not really a pioneer of blogging.
That's funny. So they were. So ZDNet had blogs, download.com. They were early WordPress users. And they actually had some fantastic people there. Mike Tatum was the guy who brought me out.
I love Mike Tatum. I was about to bring him up, actually. He's one of my
Shelby
favorite
Bonney
people.
was there. They bought Urban Baby, which had John Maloney and David Karp mm-hmm. around the same time. They bought Consummating, which had Ben Brown. Like
Consummating? Sounds
It was this
dirty.
awesome... Remember I'm in Like With You?
Yes.
So it was like the predecessor to that, this awesome sort of social network dating fun site. Mm-hmm. You could be on it even if you had a girlfriend kind of thing.
And it's called Consummating? I don't...
But it's fun. It was
like
a game.
The sound of this.
It was a game. And...
I'm still creeped out by it, I'll be honest.
Ben Brown. It was one of the things at the time, like Upcoming or Delicious or Flickr. Like this is all the same cohort of things that were happening. Kind of in the post-crash time when like all the finance people left and all the creative people were still there. Mm-hmm. These were the things that were created. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they had weird names, but it was a lot of fun. And they were all at CNET, and I really enjoyed my time there, actually.
So there really was this whole CNET mafia that a lot of this grew out of.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm fascinated with the concept of Silicon Valley mafias because, and I've actually like studied this a great deal, it tends to be the biggest and most successful companies that win a wave don't actually yield a mafia, which is like, a tight collection of people. I mean, there's people who go work with each other or whatever, or go to other jobs, of course. No one stays at a company forever. But in terms of like an explosion of talent that helps fund each other and work with each other and has all these connections that like gives rise to something way bigger than the initial company. Like what you've seen with PayPal, what we've seen very early with Facebook, what you saw with Fairchild back in the early days. I mean, Fairchild was the definitive mafia, but HP wasn't. As much, and it was partially because HP was so nice to work for, and it was so friendly and happy. It was like there was something about the chaos, and I think in the case of PayPal, something about that frustrated sense of ambition of we didn't quite do what we were supposed to do that drives all these people to go do the thing. So I'm curious with CNET. I mean, CNET wasn't TechCrunch. Like CNET was this weird middle child.
It wasn't Gizmodo or Engadget. That was what was killing them at the time.
Right.
And I pitched blogs up and down. CNET, one of the cool things they had was like every cool domain name in the world, including com.com, which I think they paid like 8 figures for. So you could do anything, like online.com, profile.com. I mean, literally anything. And so my theory was I wanted to create a hosted WordPress service where anyone, because at the time to run WordPress, you had to like set up a database, download it, upload it, all these things. I just wanted to create something where you could press a button and have a WordPress. And I pitched it. And CNET there was an anti-blog backlash at the time happening, where they thought blogs were dead.
Was this last week?
And they weren't the future. And actually, if you look at it at the time, when Automatic launched, we were actually competing with Microsoft, had MSN Spaces, AOL, which was cool at the time, had
Really?
AOL Journals, Yahoo, which was cool at the time, had 360, Google had Blogger. Every single internet giant had a blogging system, but none of them called it blogging except for Google, because they're also scared of the word blog.
Why?
2 reasons. It sounds kind of weird. It sounds like something, stuck in your drain, or like you actually just look at the word on its own. Kind of a weird word. But 2, the prominent blogs at the time were the political blogs, and they were really known for being like, alpha males who like find like something and take down a politician, and then we'd all celebrate the blogs took down this politician. And
tech blogging's nothing like that.
No, it was more like the Instapundit, but that was all there was. It was like the Instapundits of the world were sort of the prototypical bloggers, and so people just had this negative connotation. They thought it was a political thing.
So CNET, you could have given CNET relevance, but they said no.
I don't know that.
So then you decided to quit and do it on your own?
Yeah, and actually CNET was supportive. They ended up putting some money. Both Shelby and CNET put some money into starting Automatic. But really, I just wanted to be in control of my own destiny. And I also had a weird like Office Space Milton thing. When I started at CNET, I had like this actually beautiful corner office. And then someone saw that, a VP saw it, I got transferred. I was on like this interior office, but I still had a window. And then like the group I was in got moved. And next thing I know, I'm literally in the basement. No natural light. I'm like, they take my wedge stapler. So I was a little bit unhappy for those reasons as well. But yeah, I hired actually the first guy, Donica O'Queeve in Ireland, Cork County, Ireland, was sort of the first employee of Automatic. I was actually the third because they asked me to stay on a little while longer to close up some projects, which I did, and then started Automatic. And the idea behind Automatic was first to create someplace I wanted to work, which...
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I found myself without a job once I had a baby.
And then 2, create really the first company that married a really healthy open source ecosystem with a really healthy business. And typically what happens is
why do you say first company? Others would say they did that.
Typically, one happens at the expense of the other. Usually, like, MySQL is a great example. I mean, fantastic outcome, $1 billion, everything. But along the way, as they became more corporate, I feel like they really became at odds with their open source community. So things like they sold a different licensed version of the software. They said, GPL is scary, don't use it, buy this commercial license. They required all contributors to sign an assignment. So you had to sign over all your copyright and all your code to MySQL. And at the end of it, the vast majority of the contributors, 95, 98% of the people working on MySQL, were employed by the company, which is the death of the community. I mean, it's not really a community at that point.
Right.
Now, they still did a lot of cool things, and we've learned a lot from them. But I wanted to create something where both the open source side and the company could grow in tandem and strengthen each other. Because I think that for-profits can do amazing things. Non-profits can do amazing things. But when you have that sort of together, they can do something greater than either could do on their own.
Has that come at the expense of making the business bigger?
I don't think so. Automatic is purely a for-profit entity. It's always made money. It's always grown. It's always been a sustainable business. But I would say the difference is it's never not been focused on the long term. And typically, I mean, people ask like, well, how, if there's something between the foundation and the company and they're like this, what do you choose? The answer is like, that never actually happens in practice. Because any of the decisions that would be great for WordPress over the next 10, 20, 30 years are also going to be great for a company built on WordPress and the largest contributor of WordPress over the next 10, 20 years. It's just a matter of timelines. And yes, if we were optimizing for, being a $200 or $500 million company already. There'd be a lot more ads on the site, and we'd maybe charge every sign-up, or we'd do a lot of things I think maybe would have a short-term boost to the revenues. And it's been nice knowing that some of those knobs are there if we ever needed them. But it would come at the expense of long-term growth.
Has your board always agreed with you on that?
We've been blessed with actually great investors. Actually, one of the earliest users of WordPress and the guy who introduced me to everyone was Malik. And he hooked me up with Tony Schneider, Tony Conrad, Phil Black, Mike Hirschland, and those sort of became the initial investors. And that was also the board for the first 6 years of the company. Mike Hirschland left Polaris, so he switched out. But basically the people who I started working with then are the same people I'm working with now. And that's a testament to the fact that we know we're part of something larger than ourselves. And we want to put as much wood on that fire and create, I think, a company that can be around for decades. But do it in our own way without compromising the things we believe in and the principles or the things that we've known seem to be true so far.
So will you be a billion-dollar company?
I don't see any reason why not.
There's yet to be a big company built that's making blogging software. I mean, Six Apart wound up having, folding in the Say. They may still have a decent outcome, but certainly not what people had hoped. You guys are doing about $40 million a year in revenue. Is that right?
I think that's the last thing we put out.
So that's a lot more revenue than we're doing. I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's not a lot of revenue, but that's you've been around for a while now.
We do more if you pay your bill.
I think we actually haven't paid our bill. Is that true? Have we really not paid our bill?
No, I'm 100% certain you are completely good.
We are? Because I don't know. See, I'm just, like you as a CEO, I didn't actually know how to do those things. I just hired people to do them.
Which is why I completely understand.
We really haven't paid our bill? Wow, we're dead.
That's all right. TechCrunch didn't pay for the first 2 months either.
You didn't charge TechCrunch?
We did. Absolutely.
I thought TechCrunch got VIP for free.
No one's ever gotten VIP for free. The closest might be actually Scoble, who was the first ever VIP, I think did not pay. But everyone after that, from London Labs on to CNN, TechCrunch, they didn't pay for a little while.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
But we were billing them every month. Ask Heather. Eventually, they're 100% cut off now.
All right, so let's get back to building a big business from blogging. So, how does that scale into a billion-dollar business? Blogging's been around for a long time. Are there more people who are going to start blogs, or do you do different things than you do now?
I think the question, it's not just blogging anymore. So WordPress in the beginning was about blogging. And kind of 3 or 4 years in, we shifted from being where WordPress, a blog was something that was part of your website, to where WordPress became your entire website. And the blog was just an aspect of it. I believe that the latest number is 16% of websites from WordPress today, which is the largest of any software platform out there. And I think that's valuable. If you think 16% of all websites in the world, is there a business opportunity there? Absolutely.
Well, but some might say that you're not exploiting what's already been an opportunity.
I hope we never exploit. Exploit is a terrible word.
Capturing. Look, I know a lot of venture capitalists who would say, you're powering 16% of the web and you're only making 40 million, you're doing something wrong.
I know. And I would disagree with them. Because I think the most important thing now is there's still 84% of the web not on WordPress.
And it's going to get on WordPress?
Not all of it.
Well, what do you think is realistic?
One of my personal life goals is to have a majority of websites in the world running open source software. The best way I found to reach that so far is building open source software that people can run on it. And between us, Drupal, Joomla, we're around like 20% now. I think we can easily go to 50 in the next 5 years. And I also think that as people spend more and more time on these websites, I mean, this is the thing. We have a smaller number of users, tens of millions versus the hundreds that a Twitter or Facebook might have. But we reach an audience, I believe, of 650 million people every month. I mean, the reach of these people, because they are the high end of the market, is huge. And that's our thing, is we're the top of the pyramid. It's people start, like I said, they get a taste for publishing online or get comfortable sharing with a Twitter or Facebook or one of these things that's really easy to get started with. But when they have more to say, man cannot live on 140 characters alone. They go to blogging. And a lot of them, if they're serious, go to WordPress. And so as that high-end tool, I think there's a huge opportunity there. Now, are we making as much money as we could from it? Absolutely not. But a lot of that's deliberate. Because I want to grow an ecosystem. I want to grow a market. I want to grow the web in a way that's open, distributed, independent. And there's faster ways to make money. But I don't think there's better ways to make money than what we're currently doing.
So, to be clear then, you get bigger by just continuing to have more people run their sites on your software. There's not a change in business model coming. There's not ads coming. There's not anything like that.
Oh, the interesting thing is anything that goes on a website is a potential business for us. Because we power the websites. So thus far, we focus mostly on customization has been the bulk of our revenue. So, and people think that VIP was actually created as a marketing program. It makes money now, but that was sort of a happy side effect. Or advertising. We do show ads, but those are relatively small. The vast majority of revenue comes from regular bloggers, like some of you here in the room. We provide vault press backup, or a Kismet anti-spam, or a domain for $25, or any of these number of things that allow you to sort of pimp your blog, and they open their wallets, which is one of the most sacred things you could do in a capitalist society.
Is it necessary for you to become a billion-dollar company for the blogs that you power to become big companies as well? I ask this because, you know, we've spent a lot of time sort of rethinking the economics of blogging, because I think in the last 6 years we got in a very bad place where it was all very page view based, and that really destroyed a lot of the journalism. And one of our values is that we respect readers' time and intelligence. And what we mean by that is we don't optimize the site for page views. I mean, we do 60 stories a day in the ticker that you never have to click on. I mean, we lose immense amounts of page views that way. We write 2,000-word articles, and some of them do way higher traffic than shorter articles. I mean, it's a very counterintuitive system. And for it to work, I have to find a way to make money, not on page views, but on influence. And to me, this was the lost opportunity of TechCrunch. I used to always say that at TechCrunch, we made everyone else way more money than we ever made ourselves. I mean, you could write, there was a time when I wrote about this company in rural India, and the guy had never heard of me, never heard of TechCrunch, was willing to do this article. I wrote the article. It got, he got then called by like Fast Company, CNN, New York Times, and 16 different venture capitalists called him for investment. I mean, that's an insane amount of influence that TechCrunch had in its glory days that I had never seen at Business Week, at Fortune, at any other publication I'd written for, and yet an ad on TechCrunch was bargain basement cheap because it was all off of page view based advertising. Does that need to change, and can that change?
I would say what you described, I mean, you understand perfectly why we choose not to make money in some ways that we could. Because that's exactly what you're doing. You're saying there's certain principles I have, or certain things I think are intrinsically good, or ways the web needs to change. That in the short term, we're not going to play the page view game. But long term, we're going to create something more valuable. I think the page view thing is poisonous. And I think there's also there's a noble lie of display advertising right now, which is the people who click on it. Who runs an ad blocker? I do. Do you?
It's what?
Ad blocker?
Ad blocker?
You don't know what that is?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow, I'm about to blow your mind. You know how the web is really slow and has these ads popping up everywhere? You can get a Chrome or Firefox extension that just they don't happen. And it's faster, like especially if you're on like a mobile device or anything like that.
Did you have more to add? I mean, you have
no,
my mind,
I'm amazed you didn't know what an ad blocker was.
Well,
that's incredible. I just thought you were being sarcastic, because some people who have page view business models get very mad at ad blockers because it feels like it's people stealing from you. But I think it's a page view model that's broken. The people who click on ads are not the demographics that you're buying usually. So I might buy ads on the New York Times because it's 100K plus, males 24 to 49, et cetera, et cetera. But the people who click on those ads typically aren't the most tech savvy, typically aren't the most affluent people who visit those websites. And
do you believe in social advertising?
I do. I think the most interesting advertising that's happening right now is stream advertising. And when you think of it, that's what AdWords is. That's what Twitter's ads are going to be. Anything that has a rich stream that's getting a lot of attention, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, any of those. it's like a magazine. There's a full-page ad, but the thing that's most afforded by a magazine is turning the page. So it's not that bad to see an ad for a page or two because you just turn the page. And the thing that's most afforded by touch devices, and every mouse has a scroll built into it, is scrolling. And so I think the first thing that's going to die is above the fold. Does not matter at all. And it's crazy that advertisers will actually have bots that go out and look if an ad is above the fold, and they won't pay for it if it's below the fold. But in-stream advertising, I think, is going to be the future. But I don't like ads in general, so
But
I don't know if I gave that impression.
necessary evil, though, really, for media, I think. Do you? Or do we innovate away from ads?
Absolutely. All the tech blogs make as much or more money from their events as they do from ads.
But events don't scale. It's very hard to build a big business off of events.
CMP's hundreds of millions of dollar business. I mean, it can scale. It might not be fun scaling it. You might not want to scale it. But a lot of these things scale.
Let's talk about you as an investor.
Okay.
When did you start investing?
I think it was around 2008.
What was your first investment? You don't remember?
I don't.
That's awful. That's
Well,
worse
because
than
I
not
did-
knowing what an ad blocker is.
I'd advised a few companies before. So I'd been an advisor to Sphere, Tony Conrad's company, We Game, Jared Kibb's company. I really think of those as my first investments. And Automatic. You know, I put a lot of my own money into Automatic.
How did you have money?
Working. Credit card debt.
Saving pennies. How would you describe yourself as an investor? First of all, how much do you do? Are you fairly active?
I think I've done 30 or 35 so far. It's not, so my philosophy around investing is that I was given such incredible opportunities. When I moved to San Francisco, people were so kind and so inviting and so good at sort of, paving the way for like a kid from Houston, Texas. I wanted to pass that on. So really what I get out of it is A, it's fun. B, you see, just like I get energized by going to jazz or art here, I get energized by hearing, someone's idea. That you see it all the time. This is probably one of the things you love about what you do. There's that passion. You can tell like someone's been up all night thinking about this, and they've been so nervous they're going to meet you, because you're Sarah Lacy, and all these sorts of things, and that it's just great. And in the situations where I feel like I have something to offer more than just money, I love being involved with these companies.
Well, I think that's interesting because the idea of angel investing has really changed since I've been in Silicon Valley. When I moved there in the late 90s, angel investors were former entrepreneurs who'd had an exit, who had this relevant experience that was more relevant than what your typical venture capitalist had, even if they had come from an operations background. And what you got with angel investors was someone who rolled up their sleeves and did a lot of mentoring and worked with you pretty heavily to get you sort of ready to go be a VC-backed company. Today, you have a lot of angels who do, everyone seems to have adopted spray and pray, or put in money here and there, but not really spend a lot of time with the companies. I'm curious if, what your thoughts are on that transformation, if you agree, and also what kind of investor you are, and will you do a deal just because you think you'll make money from it, or do you want to be involved?
Money is not my biggest motivator in most things.
It's jazz.
But I think that part of this is that companies have gotten cheaper. So the amount that people are raising is less. There's been a lot more affluence spread around in technology. And people want to be involved. And there's a lot more people. And also, one man, Naval Ravikant, has completely blown this up. I was Venture Hacks had existed when I was founding Automatic. Incredible information. Between Venture Hacks, then AngelList, and Y Combinator, the entire ecosystem has shifted to become incredibly entrepreneur-friendly. And so, in terms of spending a lot of time with the company, just as someone who is an entrepreneur, I like investors to be sort of on call, if you will, like not on your back. And so that's how I try to operate as an angel as well. Like I will be extremely responsive and try to do whatever I can. And I'll check in every now and then, but really give the entrepreneur space to build and create and do the things that is probably why you wrote them a check in the first place.
So when you say that Y Combinator, AngelList, and Venture Hacks have really broken up in the market and made it more entrepreneur friendly, is that a point in the cycle thing, or do you think that is a permanent structural shift?
I think it's irreversible.
So even if we go through another ugly period where, you know, people don't want to give money to consumer internet companies or whatever it may be, they feel the space has been overheated, there's that pendulum swing back. It won't swing back?
I don't think so. I think there are some negative aspects of this, like leaderless rounds. I'm not a big fan of. If you have, 20 people putting in $25K each and not a real lead. I think it's good to have, even if I don't want to be that person, someone who is maybe going to board meetings or something, keeping an eye on the investment and providing guidance, because I know that guidance was really valuable to me. But by and large, the terms are much friendlier. I think that the valuation thing has been a little negative. And I don't say that, not that higher valuations aren't good for entrepreneurs, particularly first-time entrepreneurs, but I'm seeing a lot of trouble at second rounds. I'm seeing a lot of companies that maybe raised $1.5 million from 10 angels or something, and now they're ready to raise $3 million, but they have no institutional investor in who's going to write them the bulk of that. Or they're doing okay, but not like breakaway success. And there's so many another thing that's changed hugely since I started, it used to be you'd fund an idea, and now you fund like an app with 50,000 users.
Right.
That was the thing, when WordPress was funded, when Automatic started, it was, we had 200,000, 300,000 sites at that point. I mean, a lot of the execution risk was taken away at that point. And that is almost to an extreme, that I think it damages people who have good ideas and need a little bit of capital to get it off the
Because
ground.
people want to see that kind of traction.
Yeah.
So do you think it makes sense for an entrepreneur to have an institution in their angel round or not? Because the flip side of that is they're not going to do every Series A that they angel invest in. So a lot of times you have this negative signaling thing where if, and I'll just pick on them ad hoc, if Andreessen Horowitz invests in you and the seed round, and then they wind up having too much exposure to that space or a competitor or reasons that don't have to do with the company, they don't invest in you again. Sometimes that hurts the company more than not having an institution to begin with.
I think that all of that is easily solvable. If the company's going badly, maybe that's harder. But if the company's doing really well and the investor has a good reason why they're not following on, Instagram and Andreessen Horowitz might be a good example. Other investors don't mind. They understand that. In fact, they're usually excited that they're able to slip in. So I'm very confident about the future of sort of the capital and entrepreneurship markets.
I have a
Especially in New York. New York's been a lot of fun.
Tell me about how you think it's different in New York. If the 19-year-old Matt Mullenweg had come to New York instead of San Francisco, would you have started a company?
No. It would have been too much fun.
So there is something to the girls are distracting.
No, not that. New York. I started investing in New York, I guess, 2 years ago. It's been a lot of fun. There's Interport, Chartbeat, MakerBot,
I love
which I love.
Chartbeat.
Yeah, everyone
We
loves
just started
Chartbeat.
using it, and I don't run my business off of stats. I try actually not to look at them because I think you can get too obsessed, and it actually hurts you as an editor. But it's such a beautifully done site. I find myself spending too much time in it.
It's a Bloomberg terminal for journalists now. Rap Genius is in New York.
I love Rap Genius too.
Yeah, me too.
I met those guys at the Lair Portfolio CEO Summit last time I was here, and they just had huge jugs of water, like those Safeway sells water in a milk carton.
Sure as water.
Yes, yeah. Well, I didn't. I took their word for it. But yeah, and they did a presentation, and they had like sideways hats, and were chugging out of these. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I said, "What's with the water?" And they're like, "Got to keep hydrated, bro."
It's fun. I have always thought that hip hop deserve the same literary attention that like a T.S. Eliot or someone does. And to see that applied is amazing.
Appropriately, Ben Horowitz is our next San Francisco guest.
Nice.
So we'll talk a lot about hip-hop.
Literally, one of the things that first got me into the web was an annotated T.S. Eliot, where you could sort of click on every single line in The Wasteland or Portrait of an Artist and see like the 30 allusions in it. And I love being able to do that with like, Childish Gambino songs or Jay-Z songs or something like that, because they are just as deep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have a couple more questions for you, but then I want to open it up to the audience. So if anybody has a question, there's 2 microphones.
We have a handsome audience.
They're a very handsome audience. So first of all, you were telling one of my reporters, Erin Griffith, who you had lunch with, that the millionaire matchmaker woman was obsessively trying to get you on her show.
I don't remember what show it was exactly, but I get those emails fairly frequently.
Why does everyone want you to do reality TV? Who all do you get them from? We discussed earlier you might do Dancing with the Stars.
I don't know. You haven't seen me dance. Maybe it's like a Texas two-step. Yeah, they do teach you.
I mean, if Woz could do it, you could do it.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like reality TV has few upsides.
So you don't want to go on Millionaire Matchmaker?
No.
You don't need that woman to find you a wife.
For any number of reasons, yes. I feel like that would be a bad thing. But, I mean, I've watched them before. Like, you know, you're on JetBlue, you're flying in. I think I must have watched like 5 hours of Flavor of Love. You know, you just can't look away. It's like, oh my goodness, what did she just do? But that's not really the personal brand I'm going for. Or I think what WordPress users are looking for.
So you will not be on Bravo's Silicon Valley?
No. If you do a reality show, I'll come by.
I might go do a deal now. I'm going to hold you to that.
Also, I was scared of them. All the reality stories about startups are always about how they fail. Like all the documentaries.
Yeah.
Like there was, Startup 2.0, Startup.com. There's even the Netscape one. And so
there was a Netscape documentary?
That's a really good Netscape documentary. If you want to see like young Mark Andreessen.
I do want to see young Mark Andreessen.
Oh, David Winton. So Google this because they've posted all of the footage, raw and unedited. Hundreds of hours of footage from this. There's
That's
10
amazing.
stories in there. Like you guys should like hire some
I wish
people
you had
just
not
go
said
through
that on stage. Because I'm going to watch it tonight. Andreessen's our biggest investor, so I'm just hoping for ammo to use against him.
For the next round.
Yes, exactly. It's a funny story about, I mentioned Ben Horowitz and you mentioned hip hop.
Huh?
So Ben's daughter is interning for us.
Cool.
So I've been trying to get hilarious Ben Horowitz stories to bust him with on stage next month. And she said that several times the cops have been called on their house, not because of the kids, but because Ben's listening to the rap music too loud.
Ha! That's awesome.
Like the mansion in Woodside.
Yeah, he has a Rap Genius account, actually, a verified account.
I know. All right, so 2 things that we always ask everybody, and I want to do these, and then hopefully some people in the audience have some questions. They'll be quick if you want to head to the mic. First, what is the one thing that you believe that almost everyone else in the world would disagree on?
That everyone would disagree on?
Or most people.
I believe that open source is the most powerful idea of our generation, actually. And when you see open source applied, we've seen it applied to software. When you see it applied to politics, when you see it applied to genomics, when you see it applied to hardware with something like, or physical goods like MakerBot, it blows it up. Like in the most amazing way you can imagine. It just blows it up, and it destroys everything that came before. It's like the ultimate force of creative destruction. And most people don't think that. But it's really, that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I grow my hair out like a hippie.
Or poetry professor. Second one is, if you could have any mediocre superpower in the world, what would it be? Do you need me to give you a couple exampple of mediocre? Yeah. So,
What's
for
yours?
instance, mine is, it's kind of gross, but I hate having to get up to pee. So I wish during the workday, whenever that arises, there could just be something mad and my bladder would empty and I wouldn't actually have to get up to a pee. So Amanda, who came up with the question.
Was this pre or post-pregnancy?
I came up with this pregnant, not surprisingly, and right after. But it would definitely, it'd be more than mediocre if I were still pregnant because it takes a lot of productivity away. Amanda Schwab, who came up with the question, hers is not to be cold when she gets out of the shower.
I like that.
The best one we've ever had. I'll
take all of these.
Then you're going to have to do your own. The best one we ever had was a guy who said he wished he could temporarily remove his arm while spooning with a girl.
Nice. Wow. Those are hard to top. Mediocre superpower. Other ones I like. I would love to be able to like play music in my head at any point.
That's a pretty good
It
one.
would just be like jamming out to Beyonce up here.
Your old
That would
friend.
be really fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be pretty cool. Actually, there's a lot of them that would be cool.
You can give another one.
Another one. No, I'll stick with that
Most
one.
people who do these events, it always has to do with being late. Like
Being
Peter
late.
Thiel's was like an ability to transport into my office, but only when I'm exactly 10 minutes late.
The other one's kind of related. A lot of times when you see me doing this with my fingers,
Uh-huh.
what I'm actually doing is saxophone fingerings. And I would love to be able to hear that. So it's kind of a way, like certain things I know, I just try to practice, even I don't carry a saxophone at all anymore, but just kind of keep it fresh. And to hear that would be, I guess that's not mediocre. That would be amazing. That would blow my mind. Or like perfect
Yeah.
pitch would be incredible.
Yeah.
Those aren't mediocre though.
Well, that's not like, I mean, Dustin Moskovitz tried to say, I wish I could control, when I'm biking to work, I wish I could control the wind around me so that it doesn't, and I'm like, so you want to be God, you want to control the weather, that's not mediocre at
If
all.
he wants to be storm, that'd be awesome.
Like, so yours is more mediocre than that.
Okay.
You stuck
Well,
with the
thank
assignment
you.
a little better.
I aspire to mediocrity.
We did a list
Whenever.
of we did a list of the 5 best marketers, and none of them were mediocre. They refused to pick a mediocre superpower. They were true to their group.
I wish I would try not to be so awesome all the time.
All right, let's have some questions from the audience. Anyone have one? There's someone coming.
Come on down.
I really appreciate you guys braving the rain. Thank you for coming out.
I know, rain is like kryptonite to New Yorkers. It really, like, you guys do not deal well with rain.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Matt. Congrats on all of with Automatic. It's an awesome company. I was curious, thinking about open source and business. WordPress is GPL. I think how important is that license to, to building a business on top of it, and how does that? What kind of interplay have you seen there?
I'm a big believer in the GPL versus the other licenses for the vast majority of applications. And the reason, and it's a little bit wonky, but the GPL is the most moral of all the license. So basically the difference between it and all the others is that the GPL says that if you build something on top of it that's derivative, your thing you build must also be open source.
Right.
Kind of like the Wikipedia. Like you can steal the whole Wikipedia, but if you edit it, you must share alike in the Creative Commons parlance. I think that's really important to a healthy open source ecosystem. And that's one of 100 decisions we made over the years. That is the reason that like WordPress didn't turn into Joomla. You know, things around third-party ecosystem, paying for plugins or themes, commercial stuff, how much the companies behind it sort of take the auction out of the market. If you're going to build a hybrid open source for-profit thing, you have to think very, very deliberately about all of those because they really make or break not just your startup, but the ecosystem.
Great, thanks.
My name is Chris McCallow. I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Hi.
I'm from New Vibe Fitness. Thank you for coming, Matt. Thank you, Sarah, for putting this together. I actually kind of have a two-parter. One is just very simple. I know I've seen you on Techstars over the past few years, advising companies and whatnot. I'm just kind of wondering specifically, like, what kind of companies are you typically looking for? And then I want to know, what are your 5 top rappers of all time?
Ooh, I like
That's a good one.
That may become our new third standard question.
All right, cool.
For companies, I would say anything to do with, music, open source, all this stuff I've been talking about, bourbon. My latest New York investment is actually Kings County bourbon. I figured I was going to give them a lot of money anyway. I might as well.
Is it good bourbon?
Oh, it's good.
How would you describe it?
We'll have some later.
Okay.
I guess barbecue. I would totally invest in a barbecue company.
Obviously.
I invest in a barbecue team every year. So,
Right, might as well.
and top 5 rappers. I'm going to not order this
Okay.
to make it a little bit easier, but I'm
probably
going to
around-
order.
you're
I'm going to do
probably
one and then other. Number 1, Andre 3000.
Okay, good choice.
Nice.
Underrated.
Very.
Underrated?
Yes.
Granted, he hasn't really put out a lot of stuff, in recent years. So.
He does a lot of amazing guest verses.
True.
And then in the 2 to 5 range, I'll put Kanye in there. I'll put Donald Glover / Childish Gambino.
Right.
Um,
Have you heard of Songza, by the way?
Who?
Songza, the app.
yeah.
It's a very, very cool app. By the way, I'm not with the company obviously at all. I just download it. I think it's really cool. Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. They're from New York too, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually put Method Man in there as well.
Wow.
That's sort of my New York indie pick.
All right.
And, Nas or Jay-Z?
Okay.
Nas.
Okay.
Poor Jay-Z. Is it because he married Beyonce?
I know, I'm mad at him.
He took your girlfriend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
Awesome
problem.
question. See, again, going back to your point about the sort of varied interests in New York, we would never have that question at Pando Monthly San Francisco.
I just thought Kendrick Scott. I would put Kendrick Scott and J. Cole. I'll switch out 2 of the mainstream guys for those guys.
Okay.
What's your favorite Kendrick Scott?
Let's just keep going.
That's all right. I'll tell you later.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. Thanks for coming. And there's a great line. We wanted, outer space, but we only got 140 characters. Will WordPress?
We got them from outer space, though.
Will. What do you mean?
I think it's flying cars.
They had like an astronaut that tweeted.
We wanted flying cars, but okay. I like that variation. I will use that when I ask this question next time.
Is this your shtick? You asked the question. It's like her.
I've only asked it once, but so will WordPress get us outer space or flying cars? And if so, how?
No.
So it's kind of, I guess, a metaphor, maybe an allegory. But so best minds of our generation are kind of going into maybe like selling ads or, Twitter. Will WordPress eventually get us something grander, less digital, more real? Or is it more the profits you get from companies in the ad tech space going into things like solar, renewables, energy, more forward-thinking tech?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those areas are not lacking for investment. So I don't think it's a zero-sum game. It's not like because Polaris invested in Automatic, they didn't invest in, a bio company or a solar company. Our mission, like our core, is to democratize publishing. And I think when you create equality of opportunity for the tools to publish and have a voice in the world, when Pando Daily can use the same tool that the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal does, that changes things. And I think it creates a more open and transparent society. And we see that often, the flash mob or the riot might happen on Twitter, but the reason the riot happened on a blog in Egypt and Kazakhstan and a lot of these places. And so you need a place for people to have that exposition, to have that longer form thinking, to have those ideas and creativity. I think ultimately the ideas and creativity change the world. We're just a tool, right? We're a paintbrush and a canvas. But the things that people can create with it never ceases to floor and amaze me.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Hey, come on down.
Thanks so much for doing this, and thanks for pulling this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You spoke about how you expect WordPress to be around for the next 5, 10, 20 years, and you talked about the future of the company. I was wondering if you could describe to us where you see the platform, WordPress, the platform that everything's built upon in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but the first phase, and I blogged about this, if you check out ma.tt. First phase of WordPress was blogging. Second phase was CMS. And in fact, when we do surveys today, 92% of WordPress users use it as a CMS. Third phase was platform, actually. And so that was people using WordPress as an application framework to build things that don't look like WordPress at all. Do you know coding.com, the online IDE? I think you guys wrote about them.
One of my reporter knows about it.
Okay. Original version was built on WordPress as an application framework. And we are right in the thick of that right now. And I think what's coming next is actually the true marriage of blogs on devices like this and with social networks. I'm very, very, very excited about that. The thing I'm actually most proud of that we've ever created is Automatic, because we've created an organization that I feel will adapt and continue to whatever comes in front of it. And we passed 100 people this year, last year, recently, which blew my mind because I never imagined it being more than like 20 or 30. Like I literally wanted to create something that had like 20 or 30 of my friends, and we just kind of hacked all day. And And of those first 20 or 30 people, 7 years later, they're all still there. And we're creating an organization that I think really can have that longevity. And I think, to go back to your earlier thing, to call back, the mafias that get created,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is from cultures that burn people out. HP, for all of its faults, was someplace that you could stay and be happy and
Right.
fulfilled for 20 or 30 years. Where like a PayPal, the stars that burn the brightest sometimes
Yeah.
are the shortest. Sort of eject this incredible talent that was, forged in the fulcrum. You get the Reid Hoffmans and the Peter Thiels of the world and everything. And they're kind of like hyper-forged to be like ultra entrepreneurs that can go other places. But I think there's something just as much to be said for, creating and building an organization and contributing to that organization that's going to have a huge impact on the world over generations. And I mean generations not necessarily in the people sense, but in the technology sense. I actually have a lot of respect for Microsoft in this regard, because they have successfully navigated several extremely large generational shifts in technology. If you think you're starting as like a programming tool, to DOS, to graphical interfaces, to the internet, to game. I mean, they have done it a few times. I think they're going to do it again with Windows Phone, actually. And that's the kind of organization I want to build.
So ideally, you see possibly one day WordPress moving past LAMP to another platform and beyond?
It's not so much about the underlying technology. That almost doesn't matter. What matters is the ecosystem and continuing that. The thing we learned from Microsoft is that backwards compatibility is one of the most important things. You can use a theme built for WordPress in 2005 today, and it'll still work. Where, like one of our contemporaries, Drupal, sort of rewrites everything with every release. So the releases tend to be a few years apart, and they refactor it, which is more attractive from an engineering point of view, but ends up breaking a lot of the backwards compatibility thing. We have over 19,000 plugins now. I think a couple thousand themes. And that is really the killer feature of WordPress. Because there are no more killer features anymore, right? There's not like a version of WordPress. If everyone in this room uses WordPress, which I'm going to assume since you're here.
Odds might be high.
If you're on .org, no two of us might use the same one, because we have different combinations of plugins and themes. And so what you're really having is like 1,000 killer features, and everyone has a different 10. And you can pick and choose what those are and really customize it and curate it to be like the perfect tool for what you're going to do. The perfect tool for creating a Panda Daily, or the perfect tool for creating a real estate website or a record label or anything. And that, I think, is what I mean by the platform aspect. That's what we're in the middle of. It's going well. What we haven't done well yet is these guys. I got the logo on there.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I was going to ask you, how does mobile change your business? Because you can't, you
Yes.
can't be a content, you can't be the content creator in the same way if we're all spending more time online through a mobile phone without a physical keyboard as if you're spending all your time interacting in the web through a laptop.
think how much easier it is to take a photo from this and put it online than it is to do it through your computer. Like, you take the photo, you take the card out, you plug it in, you navigate some folder. Wow, what a pain in the butt. Where here it's all built in, and that's the beauty of it. It has all the sensors built in, it has the communication, it has the always-on broadband, and in the future it has Siri, right? So it doesn't matter that you're like this and you're going to get carpal tunnel. Just talk to it. A friend of mine at Apple said his son just dictated a 17-page term paper using the iPad voice thing. It's like, wow, yeah, that's the future. That feels like it.
Man, I feel like old woman Lacy. I can't imagine doing that.
You should try writing a blog post, maybe one of the shorter ones, like 100 or 200 words, just entirely using the iPad voice feature or the iPhone voice feature. I'd be fascinated to see how it turns out. You can still edit it later. It's not like...
When I was in high school, I fell on spring break. I was totally sober and broke my hand.
Soberly tober.
And I had to dictate my essays.
Huh. That's kind of
Which
cool.
is awful. I just sit in a room with a professor and be like, then in 1816. it was so I've had some experience with this, and I don't think it's easy.
It's getting better. And I think that is just 1/1000th of what we're going to see. I mean, the fact that this is with you all the time, that it can take photos, that it can record voice, that you can bump your friends, yeah, it's a really, really, really exciting thing to be building these things. But I mean, the first version of WordPress had no JavaScript old man Mullenweg. You know? So it's really a different thing we need to imagine and embrace.
All right, go ahead.
Matt, Sarah, thanks for coming in and putting this together. I'm Andrew Francie. I'm from Buddy Media. So 3-part question. The first is a Tumblr question. You knew you were going to get a Tumblr question.
Can't believe you didn't ask it.
I
Yeah,
always,
what's up with that?
I always hold a couple. I thought someone from New York would ask it. I was going to let them.
Okay, so 2 questions around Tumblr. The first is, how do you explain like the phenomenal growth that Tumblr's had? And the second is, what part does Tumblr play in WordPress's future? Are you guys going to interoperate, or do you see them as a competitor? And the third question is, I know you're an audiophile, so what headphones are you using?
Start with that one first since it's easy. Odyssey, Auduze, or Odyssey, sometimes people pronounce it. Google it.
Okay.
Is it awesome? What's great about it?
Yeah. In terms of Tumblr, I think they've had the phenomenal growth. Well, A, because they've done an amazing job. I have a lot of respect for David. And I think that they were the first to sort of tie a blog and a social network together. I mean, 6part tried this. Remember Vox? That was like a huge thing. But it missed a little bit, and they didn't iterate on it fast enough. But Tumblr was really what Flickr should have been. You know? They took this the photo sharing. Flickr didn't have as many animated GIFs, but and put it in the dashboard that we saw sort of Twitter and Facebook pioneer, or friend feed in a lot of ways, and put the two together. And if you look at it, I think what did they say publicly? 85% of their traffic is to the dashboard. So actually, their blogs get fewer hits than ours do, but their dashboard as an application is an incredibly engaging experience. And you see it. I mean, it's got the infinite scroll, right? This is one of those, I think, morally questionable things. Like, you can get really hooked on that infinite scroll. We do it as well, but I think that's it. And I think they did a really great job there.
Competitor?
And absolutely. Twitter's a competitor. Like you said, some people tweet instead of blog. At every part of our business, like on the CMS side, we compete with the big guys. We compete with like a Vignette and these giant $1 million systems. On the open source side, we compete with Joomla and Drupal.
What about Squarespace? I'm not going to say who, but half of our team is trying to convince me to move from WordPress to Squarespace.
On the CMS side, I'd say we compete with Squarespace and a few others. Canvas, maybe. And then on the social blogging side, Blogger is actually still huge. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and all of the things like that. I would put in the social blogging as a category as well, to the extent people use them like a blog. But I think ultimately, I guess I probably shouldn't pre-announce this, but let's say there was a way that when you posted to WordPress, it also went to your Tumblr. Then you can get the distribution of all the followers that you have there, while still retaining a place on the web that you can run your plugins on, have complete control over, and that people are actually going to visit, because it's like its own website rather than just sort of an attachment to a dashboard. I think that's pretty interesting. And we've seen huge growth from blogs come from doing that with Facebook and Twitter. And if Tumblr continues on this path, I think they could be highly complementary in that regard.
But isn't there somewhat of a dichotomy between the people that are just doing like memes and photos and porn on Tumblr, and then you're also seeing like a small constituency of people just blogging using Tumblr? So
Yeah.
It's super easy to set up. It's dumb easy to set up. Do you see people also going in that direction more? I mean, that seems like they're encroaching on your space.
Yeah, MG Siegler.
Yeah, MG is a good example. That I'm less worried about, because those
Why?
those aren't network effects. Those are interface and friction and sign-up things. And those are things that you can iterate on and get right. And some of the new stuff coming is radically different from what we're currently doing, and just as easy. You can blog in seconds with it, where I agree that loading up like the WordPress dashboard, it's a power user tool. It's like all the switches on the Millennium Falcon, right? It's going to get you there. But if you're just creating, if you're not editing, for example, that's way easier. If you just have an image post, that's way easier. Yeah.
If radical changes are coming, is that an admission that WordPress has gotten a little stale?
I would say that it's actually been tougher because it hasn't been stale. because all the core metrics are growing so quickly and continue to accelerate in growth, including revenue, I think it would be easy to ignore some of these aspects. But because we're growing in two directions at once, one I would say the CMS side of WordPress and one I would call the social blogging side of WordPress. And that's where I spend most of my time, is on that, because that's who I am as a person. That's the thing I'm passionate about. That's what I think is going to get the world on it. Yeah, we spend a lot of time there. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Not really.
Okay.
Sort of. I mean, but it still doesn't answer whether you guys are stale. I mean, if a lot of people are using you. I mean, look, when I started Pando, everyone at TechCrunch, people use your software, but they bitch while they're using your software.
Yeah, and that's something we're trying to fix, especially with VIPs. So, and just sort of as a wonky thing, like TechCrunch, Pando Daily, GigaOM, they're what we call VIP clients. So we host them, but you guys run your own code. And so we don't look at that code necessarily. Like, we don't run that code ourselves. So, like, for example, we found something on the TechCrunch one that, like, every time you post, it was taking like 30 to 60 seconds to post. WordPress.com does not work that way. It posts in like under a second. But there was like a remote call going to a service that was really slow. I think a Crunchbase integration or something that was really slowing it down. But no one ever told us.
Right.
So people were just unhappy. And I would say that for every author at Pando Daily or any other thing, if there's something that frustrates you about the software, I mean, email me because we'd love to know and fix it, because there's a chance that it might just be something that's affecting you and not everyone else, so we would never even notice it. And there's other things that are coming down the line that, like, you're a writer, you're an author. Like, I would love to get your feedback on some of these new things. Like, I don't know if you've ever used the distraction-free writing interface.
No.
That's cool. So check it out. On the WYSIWYG, there's a button on the right, and when you press it, it goes full screen. And you can press F11 or something to make it literally take up your whole screen. And you get this beautiful Right Room-like interface.
Oh, that's cool.
That just allows you to focus on the words. But it's still WordPress in the background, so it's auto-saving it to the server every couple of seconds. So even if lightning hits your computer, all your words would be saved. And you get all the other integrations, the media, the spell check, and everything like that. But it's just a beautiful, clean space for creating.
You know what I absolutely hate? That stupid sidebar that pops up that says, "You've published 195 posts. Way to go! 5 more until you hit your goal."
Did you hit the goal?
I'm bumping the goal every day because
You know
guess
you
what?
get a
I
gold
blog
star.
for a living. I don't need the pat on the back.
All right, you get a sticker. Oh, temporary tattoo.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Okay, hi.
Hi, Sarah. Howard Greenstein. Thanks so much for bringing Panda Monthly's series to New York. And Matt, thanks for speaking tonight. So, Matt, you've talked a bit about curation. You know, obviously you started with your photos, and a lot of the stuff that you built was for you. I've become a fan of Storify recently because it lets you come to conferences and pull stuff from here and pull stuff from here. And you know, in a similar way, though, I'm not as huge a Tumblr fan as other people are. You can and kind of do that kind of stuff. How can WordPress and what do you see in WordPress's future for making it easy to curate content, bring stuff in from different sources, and you know, you have platforms and VIPs like a Pando and a TechCrunch and others that can, you know, bring lots of different authors and multi-user kinds of things. How do you bring that down to the rest of us in a simple and easy way? And you know, what's the future for that?
I think you have to have a consumption interface as well. I've never talked about this publicly before, but no one's, you know, we've gone so long, no one's going to watch a video this far.
And by the way, we're building something on WordPress as an app, so we appreciate it as an app
cool.
platform. So.
Thank you. So WordPress has never had a way to read blogs in it. It's only been about writing. And you might write a few times a week or a few times a month or every day if you're Sarah Lacy, but you read blogs several times a day. And so we launched it quietly because we've been iterating on it almost every day. But we have this new reader on WordPress.com that you can visit and follow both WordPress.com things, great blogs like Pando Daily, I think is one of the recommended ones, but also anything from throughout the web. And it shows it in a really concise, easy to scan way. But it's the things that, we're also bringing a lot of rich media in. So like if there's a video, you can just watch it right there. If there's a photo, a post that's only a photo, it'll be right there. I would say it's in some ways like the Tumblr dashboard, but very different actually, because we're taking a more author or blog-centric approach, and it works with things that aren't part of our walled garden. The numbers from this have been tremendous. Like it's been growing at absolute values, like multiple percentages per month, but also things like is one of these social primitives that, if you look at it, all social websites have a number of things that are the same throughout them. So call it like or love. Everything has a share or retweet or reblog or something like that. The reason for that is that it raises the average quality of the stream. Like the best thing that you saw in your stream, you publish, and then I see that in my stream because I follow you, even though they're not that third party. You need likes because it's incredibly engaging. So like, you might get 1,000 posts, 1,000 pages on a post, but it's actually far less motivating than if you saw me and Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen like a post. Because you would get an email with our faces and it said, hey, Matt liked your post. And just from an emotional and a motivational level, that's going to have a way bigger impact on you than any number of pages.
Or that stupid sidebar.
Or that stupid sidebar. People actually love the sidebar. We'll talk about that. And actually, in fact, the delta between the pages and the likes can become a demotivator. Say 1,000 people viewed this, no one left a comment or liked. What am I doing? So on an average page view, if you're logged into WordPress.com, just randomly across a permalink, you'll click on the like button 0.2% of the time. Of people who load the reader, they click on it 40% of the time. Literally a 200x improvement from literally like a 0.01 version of this. And there's a lot more of that there. And that's why I'm really excited. Because all the growth, Jetpack, good Jetpack. All the growth of WordPress thus far, which I'm very proud of, has been in the absence of social features like that. And when you can get 200x improvements in engagement from even some of these simple things, I think that there are more chapters ahead of us than behind us.
Yeah, this is a question about, I guess, WordPress. Tumblr's coming up a lot. WordPress versus, I guess, Tumblr, Pinterest, and stuff like that. I'm a photographer, creative director, and there's a difference between, I love WordPress, but also there's the social aspect of my life and my work, where it's more like I'm doing this cool thing, and it's almost like a society thing, like Tumblr and Pinterest, I guess, which I never use, and like Twitter and things like that. I don't really see WordPress becoming like making sense as a social thing. Is there any way they can ever merge, or are they just meant to be separate entities? Like Google results on your phone, you're probably looking for something different than Googling something at home.
Yeah, and I would say what you just described is our big challenge over the next year, because people have an idea of what WordPress is, and it's very much a means to an end. It's not a social place. But the beauty of any of these web services is that you get tens of thousands of people coming through the door every day who don't have a preconceived notion of what you are. And so there's a huge challenge, which will be getting our existing users to like that bar on the side. And that's tough because people don't like you to move their cheese. We saw it with all the Facebook redesigns. Everything they change something, they get millions of people saying, don't change that. And we get the exact same thing. But you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself every single day. And that's why I love creating for the web, because literally you're born fresh every day and you can start from scratch. And these people who are 40% of the time clicking the like button on the reader, that's what they think of WordPress as. And it's a smaller absolute number right now, but it's growing faster than the standard blogging stuff. And so there's a point over the next couple of years where that's going to cross.
All right, last
one,
question.
is it good?
Yeah, it's good. You spoke a lot about the success of WordPress and Automatic. What would you say is your biggest failure today?
Today?
To date.
To date. Yeah,
Or today.
yeah.
The puddles, the biggest failure to date. I had a huge screw up before Automatic started, where at the time I was paying everything out of CNET, And you asked how I got the money. Well, I didn't really have the money, but I'd hired this amazing designer, Jason Santa Maria, to do the logo. The hosting costs for WordPress had gone up to a couple $100, and this guy emailed me and said, I would love, he had some story. Something like, I have all these writers that write these amazing articles, but spammers in China are like outranking us. Could we host these on your domain? And I'll pay you like $1,000 a month for it. And this was kind of before like web spam was known as a thing. And I said yes. And it became NachoGate, if you want to Google that. Because the company was called Hot Nacho that we accepted the money from. And it was crazy. It happened, unfortunately, when I was offline on my first ever vacation of my life. And literally, I was 100% offline. I called my sister to be like, hey, I'm on vacation. I'm in Italy. This is amazing. I saw the David thing, and he has no arms, so he can spoon really well. And
I think it's Venus de Milo.
Oh,
I think David has arms. He's naked. He's the naked
oh,
one.
okay. So he can spoon well, too. And she said, hey, I just heard about you on MSN. I was like, what do you mean we're on MSNBC? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, I'll read you the article. And she started reading. I was like, oh, crap. Basically, this guy, Andy Bio, actually, who's still around, had written an article about this. And it had turned into a whole thing. And Google delisted WordPress. If you Googled for WordPress, you would not find the site. The community splits hugely. It was probably the biggest mistake I made in my life because it was spam. Spamming is bad. Kids, stay out of spam. But even though I didn't think of it, that's not an excuse because I feel like it betrayed the trust of the community. And I'm glad I made that mistake when we were a couple 100,000 people and not a couple 100 million people. Because it was all emotions at once.
Mm-hmm.
I was incredibly disappointed with myself, and I felt like the dumbest person ever. I was really depressed because there were people saying horrible things all over the news networks. The Register did the hit piece, tried to get me fired from CNET. It was really unhappy that way. But it was also a bright moment that the community we actually got more donations than we've ever gotten before or since in that time. And a lot of people sort of chipped in. And it was one of those things that really brought the community together. I think one of the reasons WordPress has flourished is because it's not just a company, it's not just me. It's really hundreds and thousands of people all around the world working on this thing. And I think sometimes you need crisis to know who your real friends are. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, they say
I'm
that.
a big believer in that.
And I think that projects need crisis as well. And that was sort of our crisis. And the people who came in, it was kind of funny. I was actually just rereading it recently because Anil Dash had written a blog post and he linked to all this stuff because he was talking about the blog wars that had happened. And so I read through it. And in the comments, it was some of the same people who I know today. And in fact, a lot of the people who were like saying, oh, let's wait till it comes back, or this is something we can fix, or like the more positive folks, are actually like a lot of them are automaticians now and people who I work with every single day. And so it's kind of neat that it galvanized those folks.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, first of all, huge thank you to you for doing this. This is amazing. I'm so happy you're our first New York guest. Oh, thank you, everyone. And just a couple quick announcements. So, if any of you guys are starting companies, even though this is our first event in New York, Erin Griffith, our amazing reporter, is based here. So meet her, get to know her. Nathaniel, one of our younger entry-level writers, is actually moving here, so we can have another person in New York. He's right there. Make sure you meet him. So we've got people on the ground here who want to do a better job of covering New York startups. And I think there's a lot that no one really covers that goes on here. We're going to commit to doing this once a month in New York, and hopefully it won't be rain next time, and some more people will make it back. But we're thrilled that you came. I don't know who the June guest is yet, but I'll post it soon, and it'll be someone awesome.
Maybe one of you guys.
And maybe one of you guys. And in San Francisco for the next couple ones, we've got Ben Horowitz in June, Mark Pincus in July, Reid Hoffman in August, and Tony Shea in September. In New York, in San Francisco, the tickets sell out in about an hour usually, but I really appreciate you guys coming to the first event. If you're in San Francisco and you want to attend, send me an email at sarah@pandodaily.com and I'll make sure that you get into any one of those.
There you go.
Thanks again, everyone. This has been amazing, and thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, I had one other announcement. Oh my God, I had something else important I was going to say that I totally forgot about, and he's probably gone. So not only, and most of my team doesn't even know what I'm about to say, by the way. So not only do we have 2 New York-based writers, not only are we doing an event here, but some people may be aware we recently lost a board member, and we needed to add another board member. So I decided to add a New York-based board member, and he's in the audience tonight, or he was. He had a dinner. Lockhart Steele is joining the board of Pando. One of my role models in blogging, and I'm really, really proud and excited, and I look forward to having dinner with him when I come out for these events. So that's
Thank you,
it.
Sarah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. See you.